All right, we're back with another episode of the service-based CRM Audio. And with me, Miss Sarah Jelinek. How you doing, Sarah?
Doing fabulous, Sean. Happy whatever day of the week it is.
Yeah, I don't know. It's Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't know. I literally the other day, it was a Monday, and I couldn't remember if it was actually Monday or if it was still the weekend. And I'm like,
oh my goodness.
No. I'm like, no. The only way I could figure out that it was actually Monday, it was the Pokemon Go Fest the 2 days prior, and I said, okay, that was literally on Saturday and Sunday, so I know, okay, it's Monday.
Okay. So I have problems with the days of the week, like the weekdays, Monday through Friday, of remembering what day it is. Yeah. But I certainly know when it is Saturday and Sunday. So I've got that going for me.
Yeah, no, Saturday and Sunday is good. Saturday and Sunday is nice. But yeah, no, it's anyways. So it's been a little bit since we talked last. We had a lot of stuff came out from Ignite, or no? Mm-hmm. Was it Inspire? Inspire,
yep. We talked about new features. Those kind of Wave 2, together. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, Wave 2. That was a lot of stuff happened.
Mm-hmm.
DataFlex, Microsoft DataFlex, and DataFlex Pro. We talked a little bit about that on the last episode of CRM Audio with Joel and George. So that was, I don't know. I don't know. I'm still. We'll see. I don't.
Is it okay? The uncertainty, is it the name? Is it the?
Well, it's
the concept.
It's not to reiterate what I said on the other pod, but I think it's just a licensing thing.
Yeah. Because
it's the same thing on both sides, whether it's Teams or old CDS. It's just what you have access to within it. Mm-hmm. Which is great, and but and it did give me an idea for what to discuss today.
Mm-hmm.
And with the prevalence of Teams, I mean, isn't it weird that Ignite, like 2-3 years ago? 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Yeah. I don't know. Again, time.
Yes.
Nothing. But I remember I attended a session talking about how to optimize your Teams implementation, and I came away and I came back to work and I said, we got to change everything in Teams. We're doing it all wrong. This is great. And now it is like the hub it's like the nexus for everything.
It is. It's getting to be that way. Absolutely.
It's crazy. I mean, in a cool way.
Oh, absolutely.
But I mean, and now with DataFlex, Microsoft DataFlex, I got to remember, you got to say Microsoft in front of it. Now with Microsoft DataFlex as part of integrated into Teams, and now how you can create these apps within Teams. There's for us partners, it's interesting because where do you create an app for users specifically in Teams that you're sending data to and from? It's interesting. There's all kinds of new scenarios in my head. There's all kinds of new opportunities and possibilities. It's exciting, and yet I'm not sure. It's one of those things also where it's like, well, do I want to know about that, or do I want to just know the people who know about that? Because with me, I'm very much field service oriented, and I try to make sure that I have a good team around me that knows a lot about a lot of things, so I can focus on my thing. Right. And maybe that's a myopic view, but the platform's so big now.
It is.
You can't know everything. So I got to pick and choose what I will know. And I got to know enough about the DataFlex with Teams to where I know what it does. I know what the opportunities, and as an architect, I can say, this is how we should do this. Right.
Right.
So for me, I'm half a mind to say, well, I got people on my team that are going to know it. So I'm going to skim the text and make sure I understand the concepts and go, I don't know. What are you thinking?
No, I agree. I think because you brought up Ignite, and it was actually this last Ignite we recorded an episode was myself, you, Joel, and Ben Vollmer, and we were talking about I think we were talking about AI and just how it was announced at Ignite before, and now what changes it's had. And Ben made a really good comment of, like you said, the platform is so big. And he particularly looked at me and pointed at me, not that anyone could see on an audio podcast, but he said it's hard for Sarah to know everything, to know a little bit of everything, or to know it really well.
Right.
So you kind of have to pick your specialty, your passion in the Power Platform. Now Microsoft DataFlex Pro or Microsoft Dynamics 365 Field Service or Customer Service or whatever. You got to kind of pick your area, and then. Like for me, sometimes the project I get on is that's now my new specialty.
Right.
If you're doing a completely custom Power App, I think we're still calling it Power App. I don't know, but anyway, or an XRM implementation or a custom application built on the Power Platform, however you want to put it.
Right.
You tend to have that as your specialty for that project. So like for you, field service. I mean, if that's your area. And you know it really well, and you can implement it well. That's where we're going. It's no longer that overall general knowledge, except for your like pre-sales. You know a little bit of everything. It's like a Jack or Jane of all trades, but master of none. So I think we're going that route.
Yeah, but you got to know enough to know where the hooks are.
Exactly.
Where the data goes out. Even with field service, you got to know a little bit about F&O now. Or supply chain, you got to know a little bit about finance. You got to know a little bit about those things because that's where data's coming in and out. You got to know a little bit about sales. You got to know a little bit about customer service because there's stuff coming in and out. So that's kind of how I look at it, and I'm encouraging my team to know more about Flow and about Power Apps and. In Teams, the project I'm on now, one of the projects I'm on now, I encourage my team to say, okay, we're going to get user stories about notifications. It's going to happen, but we're going to do something different. Every notification is on an email. And they looked at me like, what are you saying? And I said, well, because think about it, it doesn't make any sense anymore.
Wait, so every options. Notification is not an email?
Right.
Okay, just want to make sure I heard that right. You said it pretty quick, so I had to clarify.
Every notification is not an email, necessarily. Right? There are instances where it should be an email. But that's not a notification to me. To me,
how would you define that? How would you define an email in that case?
If
it's not a notification.
An email is an outbound message.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's how it's an outbound message. Because a notification to me says I need to do something. I need to be aware of something. If I get an email and, my phone, if I pull up my phone, you see, where's my camera? Okay.
There we go.
See that number next to my email?
Look at that, Sean.
Now that's my personal email, not my work email. But that tells you something. 4,000 emails I haven't read because they're noise. So, notifications should really be something, especially with customer service and field service, something actionable, right? So to me, I've been pushing my team to really start to leverage Teams notifications. SMS messages, things that people can take action on and can be measurable. That's the key. That's the key.
Are you using announcements at all?
No.
Just kidding. It was such an old feature of of dynamic CRM back in the day that I actually don't even know if I ever got it to work, if it ever worked.
I did use it on one project.
You did?
Many moons ago. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it was for product updates. When development would push a new release, we would put an announcement on the announcements board. And we moved the announcements to a dashboard so they could go to an announcements dashboard. Mm-hmm. Geez, that was so long ago.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring up old memories. But...
No, but it's funny. I think I recently read a blog post. I can't remember who wrote it, but they were talking about, I found this amazing new feature, and here's how you enable it and put it on a dashboard in the news. And I'm like, that's announcements. What are you doing? Like they found the root URL.
It's new to me. Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And it might be new to a lot of people, to be honest, because they may have never seen it. But that's a good point, because when I work with team members, when I work with consultants, when I work with customers, it's always like, oh, we want to get notified. Mm-hmm. How do you want to get notified? How about just an email? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yes, we could do that. Absolutely. I'm the email configuration queen at my current organization. That if people want to get that set up, they're like, "I'll just talk to Sarah because she knows how to do it." Mm-hmm. Setting up the old email router, all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. Not that we do that anymore.
Right.
But just understanding how that whole process works. And I'm like, that's great. We can do it. How many emails do you expect to get every day? How often are you going to look at it? Are your users just going to get tired of it and create a rule and throw it into a junk box, into a junk folder? Or just throw it right away to your deleted items.
Right.
You're right. It is an outbound message, but you still can, when you're composing that email, you could still make it something that is actionable, like providing a link to say, hey, something just happened. Click here to go see it or to go work with it. Just like you'd be able to do that, like with an SMS message or with a Teams notification. I think just being able to do that, or with Power Automate in a flow, having an approval email to say, okay, go do something with this. It's still an outbound message, but you can still click on it. But
but a flow
but taking
approval
that further is, maybe I reply back to the text message and say, yes, go ahead and do what is being asked of me, or no. Or I know I need to go do something.
Right.
That's really neat.
It just seems to me, if a customer wants an email, I typically ask, what is the end result of that email going out? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes I find that an email message is a short-term replacement for an integration. I want data to go from my system to another person's system, but I don't have a connection yet. So I want to send this automatically from my system so they can manually document in theirs. And so I typically ask, so what is your end result? What's your desired outcome here? Are you I try to lead them with questions to see if it fits flow approval. If it fits flow approval, then I say, well, geez, I got the perfect solution. And we write a flow approval, which we did on this project. But in another situation, it turns out it was truly for just a notification. But the requirement was they had to know as soon as possible. And as soon as you say that, email's out. Mm-hmm. To my mind.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because then I would ask, okay, do they need to be able to see it if they're away from their desk? Yep. Mm-hmm. All right. Does it need to pop up on them? Yep. Okay. All right. So right then and there, email's out to me. Mm-hmm. Now, for all intents and purposes, can you get a pop-up for an email if you have it set up that way? Yes, you can. However,
with the other 100 emails that you probably get within a span of an hour.
Correct. So that's when I went to a Teams notification, and now with the Teams connector being enhanced, where you can do adaptive cards, you can do all kinds of cool stuff. You can do @, mentions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it opens up a whole world, because then when you do mentions, I might send that notification to a channel in Teams, but if I mention you, you're going to get called out, and you're going to see it in your notifications.
Mm-hmm. And depending upon how you set your notifications, I can also get an email.
Correct.
If I got to it right away.
Yep. So that worked out fantastic for this customer. So it made me really think about notifications and how they have truly evolved. And an email, I mean, the only time, if you have to do an email, I would want to configure it in such a way that we're using the features in Dynamics 365 to do the email. It's not monitoring. What's it called? When you set the email reminders, when you indicate that,
like a follow up, or
it creates the email activity. I can't remember the name of it, but it creates the email activity, and then you can indicate that you want to know when they open it. You want to know.
Oh, tracking.
Yeah, there you go. Well, not tracking. Okay. That's the normal in the timeline. I'm talking about in the email body itself. It's I can't remember the word. I can't remember the name of it, but it is a feature.
Insights or something like that.
Yeah. It's.
It's going to drive me nuts that we're not getting this word right. So. Well. Anyway, we'll move on.
No, I'll look it up real time. Here we go. This is the fun of this podcast and YouTube video. I'm going to find out what my name. That's tracking.
Is this not like a read receipt?
It's not a read receipt.
Because you talked about clicking on it.
Yeah, it's not, and it's not email tracking. Email engagement. That's what it is.
Ah, okay.
Email engagement. So email engagement allows you to follow along the email, and if they don't open it in a certain amount of time, you get a reminder with a card, an adapter card on that record, and in your timeline. I feel better that I remembered it. I wrote that up.
Great job.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So that's what it is. So that would be the only way I would really want to try to do email, is if we could enable that email engagement, because then again it's actionable.
Mm-hmm.
But it's we're getting to a point though with the analytics, with machine learning, to where things are more predictive, to where the notifications are starting to come from the system, where instead of us triggering them. But sometimes you have to move your clients in that direction to really get the most out of it, because it's just not a thing. If they're new to customer engagement, and there were manual processes before, this is a very different concept for them to get their head around, and sometimes it's difficult to reach them on that. But to me, it's worth the discussion.
That's a good point. And I think it depends on the industry that you're in. Like for us, it's like 24/7. We're always connected. Someone can call me on my phone at 3 a.m. I probably would hear it's on vibrate, but I would know that my phone is ringing. It's something that urgent, that I'd pick up on it. But if you work with, depending upon the industry, like state and local government, you've got people that are set hours and that want to be engaged during work hours, and then outside of work hours, maybe not necessarily state and local government, but maybe people that work with jobs that have maybe like a union involved, where you're not expected to work outside. You'd be breaking rules for that. That's where email maybe came in handy, and or just saying, let's just put it on a dashboard. But we still have flexibility too, that we can say, well, just send it during these hours. Yeah. We have the capability to be more adaptive to those requirements. Yeah. I think that's a great way, maybe better way to put it than that. Because that's a situation we're dealing with, is that, okay, well, we wanted an email. Well, no, you're going to just kind of ignore it. And other notifications. And do you really want to know about things when you're away from work and you shouldn't be doing anything? You shouldn't be working because you'd be, violating your company or your department's policy, your organization's policy. So.
Yeah, because technically, if you're acting on that, then you should be getting paid for that, and that might deal with some kind of labor laws or union rules, or
you might call it. It might constitute overtime, which is not approved by your organization.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I've actually had that situation where someone's worked after hours, and I got, not to derail the conversation here for just a second. Someone was saying, "Oh, I got a problem with this record," and I look and I say, "Well, I saw you in the system on Sunday doing this." And then this person messaged me privately and said, "Yeah, I was just checking things. Please don't tell anybody because I wasn't supposed to be doing that." And I'm like, I don't care, but obviously your boss does because that could be overtime. And but that's the great thing that we have in Dynamics, is we can see the auditing history and who's doing what. And but yeah, that's a great point.
Double-edged sword. That's where you come into summary emails, right?
Yes.
Once a week, on a Monday or on a Friday, you send a summary email for, maybe notifications you missed. Here's a summary of. That's when email works, right? And also you have to make sure, especially with Power Automate, depending on how you're creating the email, you have to also ask now, okay, do you want that tracked against the record?
Right.
Or do you not care about that? Because depending on that, tells you how you're actually going to build that process. So many things. So notifications. Who'd have thunk it would have been such a good topic?
Right, and then that could literally get you into a pretty deep rabbit hole.
It's good.
But yeah, it's those little things that it seems like. I want to say that we end up having our customers kind of lose their willpower because we have so many options.
Yeah.
And for them to pick one, so then you have to kind of guide them into that and say, well, you know what, I think you should do it this way. Things like that.
What I tend to do, and this is kind of sneaky, but to get them to want to do Teams notifications, I first ask, so how much are you using Teams? Oh, we're getting there. Well, this could really enhance your ability to engage with the team. And they're like, oh, I'm returning my Teams investment. Okay, in a row. So,
there we go.
Yeah. So I'm sneaky like that. But I want to talk about one other thing, and it's something coming up in a couple weeks. And I got my little notes here on my phone, so I got to do my face. And that is an event that Antti Pajunen, and I always get his last name wrong, so Antti, I'm sorry if I said it wrong. Mark Christie and I are working with Ben Vollmer and the product team, field service product teams, to create August 12th through 15th, and that is the Field Service Boot Camp.
Oh.
Yes, write that down. It's a Dynamics 365 event.
Writing it down now.
Yeah. The 365 Saturday event. And I'll put a link in the show notes on how to register. But the cool thing about this is on the Saturday, the normal Saturday day, we're going to have it, packed with community presenters, community speakers. That'll be a lot of fun. But the 3 days before it, we have direct product team involvement and interaction. So like the first day, Wednesday, August 12th, we are going to have advanced scheduling for field service scenarios with the product team for your universal resource scheduling, which is really cool. They're going to present. They'll be available for questions. It's going to be really cool. And then the day 2, Thursday, August 13th, is inspections and Dynamics 365 Field Service Mobile Power App. So we're going to talk deep dive about the mobile app. We're going to deep dive about inspections. And if you haven't played with inspections, it's really awesome. I have a blog article on how to enable actions from inspection using Power Automate. Really cool. I'll put a link in the show notes. And then on the Friday, August 14th, it's utilizing Remote Assist field service scenarios. So we're again, product team interaction. We're going to talk about how to enable it, how to use it, what's coming in the future.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of cool stuff, and we're lucky enough to get a really cool keynote from the product team. It's the investment that we're seeing from them is great, and they're really excited about it. And we got a lot of cool speakers lined up. Let's see, when is this going to go? Yeah, by the time this comes out, call for speakers will probably be over. But I'll have a link in the show notes so you can see who all the speakers are, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's 2 hours a day for the first 3 days, so that's 6 hours, and then 8 hours on the Saturday. So that's 14 hours of field service content for free. I mean, it's amazing. It's really cool, and
that's awesome.
I hope we as long as I'm sure it's going to be successful, but having the 365 Saturday field service Saturday event like this, it's good. It's huge, and I hope we'll do it again. This was one of the things I wanted to do this year, so I'm glad we're getting to do it, and working with Ben and Kyle Young and David Clark and the rest of the product team, it's really cool. So having that interaction and that involvement, because I remember back in the 4.0 days, hard to get. It was so hard. It was like you got anointed from God to speak to someone from the product team.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like
you attend a session and they share your email with everybody. They share their email and say, "Hey, just email me if you have questions."
Oh, it's nuts. And they actually review the ideas portal.
Mm-hmm.
That when I heard that, I was like, "Yeah, oh my God, that's crazy." Mm-hmm. That's how they actually get their backlog. That's fantastic. Yeah. So no, I love what they're doing. But that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be jam-packed information from Wednesday to Saturday. So register. Mm-hmm. Like I said, links in the show notes. But I think that does it. I think that's a big chunk of information that we've laid out for everybody, and I think it's a good place to stop before we give too much information out. And we just have people, they already don't know what day it is.
Exactly. So here's your notification.
That's right.
Check out the show notes for the Field Service Bootcamp. I am super excited. I'm going to go search for it right now and find it because I want to learn a whole lot more.
You know what? For you, I'll probably put the link in the chat so I can do that because we're on Teams.
Yes, we are.
So look at me. I'm going to do that right now. There you go.
Share that and sign up and get everyone I know to sign up.
I just did it. So Miss Sarah, for everybody that's listening and everybody that's watching, if they want to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
You can follow me on Twitter at SarahJ_ND, or you can catch me on the website, sarahjelinek.com. If you spell it right the first time, it's awesome. If not, just you'll see something, or LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me there too.
And it's I'm going to see if I can remember it from. I'm not even going to look at the team's screen. JELINEK.
Oh yes!
Hey!
Awesome! I was super excited.
You know how many times it took me to get that right? A lot.
So, some people can't even spell my first name right. They keep forgetting the H.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
Well, I
answered to either.
You could get John, Scene.
Yeah.
Sean with a U. I get all kinds of them. So But for everybody else, if you want to follow me, I'm CRM Hobbit on Twitter. You can check out my blog at crmhobbit.com, and you can reach out to me on LinkedIn as well, and I'll put all that in the show notes as well. So thank you, Sarah. It's been fun.
Thank you, Sean.
And until next time, old school wise, we are at your service. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.